welcome back to Get Me a Library. Today I'm doing a book review on the book that's just fallen on the floor, and that book is The Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Okay, so this book I believe a lot of you would have heard about. Even if you haven't read the series, I'm sure you've seen photos on Instagram. I'm sure you've seen photos on, like, I don't know, Waterstones or wherever. I'm sure you've seen this around. I actually read A Court of Thorns and Roses before I'd even heard about this series. I mean, it might have been like recommended for you on my Kindle when I brought it, like other books by this author, but I'd never actually heard about it. So my friend loves this series. It's one of her favourite series ever, and she did really like A Court of Thorns and Roses, so that's how we started talking about it. And then she was like, have you read Throne of Glass? I was like, no. So this was basically about a year ago, give or take, well, a bit more than a year ago now, when we first spoke about this, and it's taken me this long to get it. So I kept putting it off, not because I didn't want to read it, just because I've got so many books that I was trying to read at that time. I asked my boyfriend to get it for me for my Christmas present, and he got me the series, so I thought it was about time to read it. So I'm going to quickly tell you what it's about, just in case you guys need like a recap, or you don't actually know what this book is about, or you want to just, like I said, have a recap, and then I'm going to go into my review. So, in the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovia, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, but she's made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal, her freedom in return for one huge sacrifice. Selenia must represent the prince in a to-the-death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die. Selenia will be free, win or lose. She's about to discover her true identity, but will her assassin's heart be melted? So there is a massive hype about this book. Everyone that I pretty much speak to, there's the odd few that are feeling how I'm feeling, but the majority of this big massive community absolutely love this. I mean, it must be something that people love so much that they want to make a TV series about it. 8 books, I'm sorry, there's 8 books. The reason I keep saying 7 is because the first official book in the actual series is Assassin's Blade, but that's sort of like a very, it's like a novella, but it's a prelogue towards this book. It mainly focuses about what made Selena I haven't read it obviously, but it's what made her an assassin and how she got caught, I'm assuming. So that's why I keep saying 7 books, because there's 7 books from the one I've read. So yeah, the Assassin's Blade goes first, but it came out, I believe, after the 3rd book. So that's when everyone who's, you know, followed this series through would have read it. A lot of people said to me to read it after the 3rd book, because where Selena is a great character, she can be a little bit of an annoyance and a know-it-all in the Assassin's Blade. So I think if you read that first, you'll hate her, but if you don't, then you won't. I've heard lots of different things about this. So Selena gets better apparently, and because the Assassin's Blade, she's not, you know what I'm trying to say, I think I know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, a lot of people have said to read it like the 3rd book, so that's what I'm gonna try and do, or I'll read it completely at the very end once I've read it and I want to, you know, reminisce. A lot of people have also said that this book is not as good as the others because of the writing style, because it was Sarah J. Maas's first book. She wrote it when she was like 17, 19 or something, so the writing is not as good as perhaps A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is one of her newer books. I know she's got Kingdom of Ash, which is the newest book, and Catwoman, but you get what I'm trying to say. So for me to compare it with a newest book that I read from her would be the Court of Thorns and Roses series. So yeah, I can notice the difference. So I think the Assassin's Blade, reading that first, would also be a problem as well with writing, because the writing would probably be a very good standard, whereas this one is a lower standard. I'm not saying her writing is bad at all, I really enjoyed the writing, but I think for me to have read the first Assassin's Blade book, I would have had like this great writing style that everyone loves so much, because everyone said to me again the 3rd book gets better, so then it would have sort of like jumped down, I guess. So anyway, that's me like rambling about this background as to why I'm reading this book. But I will have to comment that I'm not sure if I liked this book. So let me give you a brief review on it about what it's about, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. So Selena, as we know, lives in this place called Endovia. I don't think I'm saying these names right, but I can't be bothered now, I can't pronounce it. So she lives in this place called the Salt Mines, and there is a map here. If you Google it, you'll be able to see it a lot clearer if you want to have a look later on, but the map is here basically. Most of this book is just in this bit here. We do have little bits about the other places that is mentioned, but we are mainly just here. I believe the second book will expand, and then the third, and then so on and so forth. It's a bit like A Court of Thorns and Roses. You only see the human realm, and then you only go to the spring court with the tiny elements of the night court are mentioned and the other courts, and then we go under the mountain. But the majority is just those three courts, well, three places, whereas this one is just the one place that we are stuck in. We are Selena, and we are just stuck in this place. So she's living in the salt mines because she has been caught. She has been caught, but we don't know how she's been caught or what she was doing whilst she was caught. That's something that we find out, I'm assuming, later on. At the moment, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about her. And I think that's why it's written in third person, not first person, like A Court of Thorns and Roses. And already I don't like that because I love first person stuff, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy this. There's a lot of characters in there and a lot of points of view and personalities that we need to, you know, see and discuss, so I think that's why it's in third person. So we don't know a lot about her because she's not told anyone about her, if you know what I mean. So it's all very secrety, whereas if we were her, we would know a bit more about what she's feeling and what she's going on, not just like, you know, description of third person. So she's been caught, she's in the salt mine, she's there for a year so far. She is 18, so she's been there since she was 17, and I believe she's been an assassin since she was like 9 years old, 8 years old, I can't remember, don't quote me on that, but it was very, very young when she lost her parents and became part of the assassin sort of community. She obviously wasn't going out being an assassin at that age, I don't think, because they haven't sort of touched on that yet, but then it's not sort of clear whether she has or not. But let's just say that she's been doing this for quite a long time. So she's 18 years old in the salt mine. She's now been caught. She's now been taken from the salt mines by Captain Westfall, and she's taken up to see the prince, who is not her prince. She's like, I don't like you or care about you, because she hates his father because of reasons that are sort of vaguely mentioned. But if you can imagine why she would hate him, I mean, she's an assassin for a reason. She's lost her family. She hates the king. There's obviously some sort of connection there. So she sees this prince. He's a little bit cool, a little bit arrogant, you know. And he basically offers her a deal. If she will be his champion in his father's champion, what's it called, tournament, that's the word, and she wins, she will become his father's personal assassin for 5 years. I think it was 5 years or 6 years. And then she basically works it down to be about 3 years or 4 years. I can't remember exactly what it was, sorry. But that's good, at least you won't be spoilt by how many years when you read it. And she's basically a little bit wary, but the thing is that if she can be free, if she can win this tournament, although she's his assassin, she's free. She's not in these salt mines anymore, she's not hurt and in pain, she's free, she can eat, she can do things. And then once she's done all these, you know, years of service, she's out of there, she can go. So that's why she's worked it down a little bit, but she's got a job, basically, a permanent job that she has to do. She's not in a salt mine, I suppose. She's just in like a glass bowl, I suppose, that's able to jump to other glass bowls, that kind of thing. So she basically says, yeah, okay, let's do this. So she goes with the prince and the captain, and she goes to the palace, which is where she's going to be staying for the tournament. A couple of weeks go by, or days go by, etc., and she's training, and then she competes in this tournament. So it's got elements of some, this is what other people have said, not just me, but it's a little bit like Hunger Games. It's a little bit like A Court of Thorns and Roses when she does the challenges. So there's a lot of different things within this book, like champions and tournaments and things like this, and training, and Division, I think it's called, that film and book. So there's a lot of stuff in it, battles, you know, fighting each other and climbing up mountains and jumping and sword fighting and archery and whatever. So there's all these tasks that they have to complete. Each time they do a task, someone will lose or someone will be sent home, and she has to try and get to the very end of this. And then once she receives her final challenge, she has to battle somebody. Once she's battled that person, she will then battle the winner of the other team, and they will go head to head for the winning champion medal. And then once that is done, she can then be part of the king's army, and then she can work those years of service for him and then be free. But in order to do that, she has to win. If she loses, she's going to be sent back to the salt mines, and obviously that's a life sentence, so she will die there. She's a very, very strong woman, very strong. She's lived through the salt mines for a whole year, and I don't believe anybody else has done that. So if she goes back there, she's pale, she's skinny, she's drawn, she's ill. If she goes back there, she may not survive. She physically cannot survive. So it's a lot of determination for her to do this. I mean, she may live another year, seeing as she's now been fed and she's been free and seen sunlight, etc., like she would have done before, but then there's no guarantee that she's going to live any longer than that. So that's basically what this book is about. You can decide upon whether she wins or not, considering there are other books. I don't want to spoil that because I don't want to say whether she's won or not. I mean, if she loses, there's a chance she could have escaped, she could be free still, and if she wins, then obviously she will go on to the next book. So again, it's up to you whether you want to decide whether she passed or not. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep this spoiler free, but if I do give a little few hints and tips and spoilers and stuff, I do apologise because it just sort of comes out. I'm going to try and keep this really, really quick and spoiler free. I have big mixed reviews about this book. I have to give it 3 cups of tea, only because it was a slow book. It did start to kick off about halfway, and then over halfway, like half of that bit, it then started to get really interesting. And like I've said before, it has nothing to do with the writing. I think the writing was good. If it was in first person, I think it would have grasped me personally a lot more, because I love books in first person. I know I love Harry Potter and it's not in first person, so it's nothing to do with the writing, it's just me personally, I didn't like that bit of it. But yes, so the story itself is actually a really good story. I like the idea of it and the elements and of the, you know, the battle, the tournaments, etc. And about a little bit of spoilers about her. But at the end of the day, it was such a slow book that I just don't want to read the next one for a while. So I don't think I'm going to read the next one for a little while. There's love interests, there's bits about her history, about their history, about the world that they're in. There's elements about the Fae and magic, even though it's not connected with Cordons and Roses. So there's lots of bits in it that I did really like. I just think it's a very, very slow book, and I think the series is going to be amazing. The world is amazing. I know a lot already about it, not from reading, just from like fan art and stuff. So I think the series is going to be absolutely amazing, but this book is unfortunately 3 cups of tea. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!